I have to shake my head at Jimbo Slice. Like, bro, what are you talking about, man? I get it though. I get it. What's happening, good people? Got the water on deck. You know what I mean? What's up, Paco? Four elements united. What's happening? Oh man, good to see you guys. I know y'all have a vlog that you're doing in the future, like 2 years from now. I thought it was a ways out. I set a reminder because I definitely want to catch that. I think that's gonna be interesting. Hey, if I could offer any advice on a vlog, um, as long as it's necessary, but as short as possible. But it's gonna be interesting, man. I look forward to that. All right. 2% is in the house. MJ's around here. Jimbo, what's the name? Hey, Rhea. You changed your name to Jimbo Slice. Okay, I got you. I got you. Leela Presti was around here earlier. Nathan Dingman. What's happening, man? What's going on? Did any of you guys take advantage of or take parts in the Renogy deal, which is the 2 solar panels for 150, or that little power station by, I don't even remember what the name is. I did not buy it. I held my ground. I felt good. I held my ground. Why am I looking over here? My comments is right here. Tonight at 8 p.m. The vlog is tonight? Is that what's going on? Oh yeah, y'all, it's premiering and then there's comments and all that jazz. That's gonna be a good time. Did I miss the no, I watched the last episode. The last episode was about accountability, right? I don't think I missed anything. What's up, Doyle? Hey, wait, what does that say? How should I pronounce that? I try to give meaning to these names, but sometimes it's just stuff. Thank you for the coins. I appreciate that. Dorito. Nice, nice, nice. Shaza Javi, what's happening? Hey, yeah, man, autocorrect. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So I just want to give a disclaimer. I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about on this topic. I have some things that I have inferred. The cycles versus watt hours is not going to be long, but I couldn't. I mean, it's like the mainstay of the conversation, I suppose. It'll probably take me all of 10 minutes to talk about it. I would be very interested in Will Prouse's take on this, or Jason Nord's take on it, or even Bean's take on it. Because those guys are much more into that stuff than I am. So I basically wanted to air out. It's a bit of a grievance, right? I think about this idea of cycles. So typically, this is not necessarily related, but just let's baseline here. Cycles on most power stations are either 500 watts, which is for the lithium ion batteries, or it's like 2000, I say 5,000 watts, 500 cycles, which means my understanding is a full cycle is from 100% to 0%. Whether that takes you 3 days to do that or not, that's one full cycle. Hey, mama, you want to hang out? You gonna say hi? Nope, she's not gonna say hi. Really? Are you done now? Is it all over? Short lived? Really? Okay, that's what life is about. She what? Oh, okay. Let me fix my microphone. All right, let me start over. Cycles, baseline a bit. Most power stations of old, even still, Jackery, are 500 cycles. A cycle, as I understand it, is when you go from full to empty. Whether that takes you a day or two or whatever, that's a full cycle. LifePo power stations are super popular now. They typically kind of baseline at about 2,000 cycles, right? And typically, what people say is if you cycle these things every day, the 500 cycle will last you about a year and a half. the 2000 cycle, 2500 cycles will last you about 10 years. We have also called into question whether or not that's actually a reasonable expectation that a power station will last 10 years. We'll see. We've only had power stations for like the last 2 years, maybe a little bit longer if you count Goal Zero and who's been around for a while. Energy is relatively new as well, but Goal Zero has been in this space for a long time. I just kind of put together that the reason why Jackery, I'm not going to say the reason why, but Jackery has those 8mm ports. Goal Zero also has those 8mm ports. So I wonder if Jackery kind of copied them because Goal Zero was like the front runner. I have also heard mention that 0 point Titan, which is the probably one of the biggest power stations you can buy. It's massive. It's heavy. It's a beastie device. It has some crazy amount of cycles in it, and I think it's not LiFePo. It's how they configured the batteries. And essentially, my understanding is that what they did was they only allow you. That's gross, man. Get out of here. I'm sorry if I get out of the stream or something because I gotta clean this freaking mouse pad off. Um, they configured it in such a way where you basically don't access all of that power, right? And it somehow gives you more cycles. That has always confused me. So people talk about this concept of going from, like, maybe you go down to 20% or you only go up to 80%, which is good for the battery health. But people also talk about it as it relates to cycles. So if you don't use your battery, you don't really perform a whole cycle. Here's my beef. Why does a cycle matter in this grand scheme of like trying to preserve them? Like watt hours is watt hours. If you have a 500 watt hour capacity device and you want it to last longer cycles, I don't understand the concept of why that's important to people to preserve cycles. 500 watt hours, let's say you avoid using the top 20% and the bottom 20%, that only gives you 300 watt hours. So for 10 days, you only got 300 watt hours during that day, but you only cycled it 3 times. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get the logic. Somebody enlighten me, please. I don't understand it. I don't understand why cycles is more important than watt hours. I would much rather have access to the full range of my watt hours, which my understanding, right? I'm trying to be very careful about this. My understanding is that if you go through the cycles only get to a point where you then lose 80%. Let's think about the Tesla. Ria's around here. I'm sure Tesla does something fancy with their cells that doesn't allow you to access the battery because they want that battery to last longer. But I don't understand, because if you deal with range, let's say you think about it from the concept of range. I could be completely off base here, but 200 some odd miles. Maybe that's a different concept altogether. But the miles directly correlate to the watt hours, right? Temperature plays a part because they're batteries. But if you say, okay, I'm only going to drive my Tesla 100 miles because I want the car to last longer, I don't get that logic. It's like 200 miles is 200 miles. If you use your car 100 miles, sure, it'll last. It's like the car will last you longer, but you wouldn't have driven it for half the time. Like, what is that about? I don't get it. I hope somebody has some insight for me, some perspective, some variance, some variables that I'm not considering. I'm scrolling down to see what y'all snapping and trapping about, but I don't understand. That's backwards. LFP is way safer. I assume you're talking to somebody. Okay, y'all talking to Doyle, like more dangerous and more likely to explode. Yeah, that is backwards. It's the other way around. What's up, Silver Surfer? Good to see you, man. Great to see your family. Thank you, man. It's always good to not have them hidden away. Um, I think the EB. What's up, C Holmes? What's up, R? I will help you. Thank you. because I need help. I don't understand. All right. Anybody have any perspective on that? Hey, please thumbs up. Why not? I tell you what y'all can do for the people who are amenable to being coerced into hitting the thumbs up button. Go thumbs up the last live, which is about the product, because I definitely want that to get out to more people versus this particular one, because this one is may not have as much use to people after it's done. What's up, Joe Trot? All right. Does anybody have an opinion on that? Am I missing the mark? Do y'all have any thoughts about it? I just think it's weird to focus on the number of times you can cycle a battery versus the capacity that's coming out of the battery. Whether you, if you use half your battery, you can't touch that. If you use half your battery, let's take the 500 cycles. You use half your battery on a Jackery 500 or whatever, and you cycle it every day, but at half, then you only get, all right, you got to go. Babe, she got to go. She's wanting to tinker with everything. She's trying to grab my microphone. I don't know how she knows it's under my shirt, but she's tuned in. So the Jackery 500, you halfway cycle it, right, every day, but you cycle it every day. So now that battery goes from lasting 1.5 years until it meets its 80% degradation mark to 3 years before it reaches its 80% degradation mark. But you used half the battery. I don't get it. I don't get it. I need some insight. Let's see here. What's up, Purple on the Creek? Good to see you. If you hooked up to solar, for me with my setup, I'm running about 500 to 600 watts per hour. The AC 200p only dips to no lower than 90% during the day. That extends my cycles. That extends your cycles. But does it though? Because that power is not passed through, right? So that power actually has to pass from the panels to the battery. The battery, that power is coming out of the batteries, right? That's my understanding. Now the AC 200p, maybe like the AC 300, in that it has some type of PV priority mode. I don't know. Nobody has helped me out at all with that. But it's my understanding that, you know, it's not truly passing through in a sense. And, you know, we've talked about this a little bit. But if you're getting in 600 watts and you're pulling out, I guess the amount of power that you have coming in is almost irrelevant. But if you, let's say you're getting in 600 watts, you're pulling out 400 watts. It has to pull, my understanding, it has to pull 400 watts from that battery. But that power is coming into it and charging it from the solar panels. That's my understanding. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Am I set tripping? Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. The cycles is more of an average thing. It has to do with heat and chemical changes. The chemistry becomes much more unstable at lower states of charge, and heat increases at high states. Okay, that's good logic. Good. I don't mean to mean that to a realm of logic. That's a good explanation, is what I mean to say, Rhea. Because my understanding is when a battery gets full, it has less space for those electrons and neurons or whatever, neutrons, to come in and like move and shake. Whereas like when the battery is less full, that power can go in easier without, you know, the heat and all that jazz. So I get that. That is a reasonable reason to not drain your battery all the way down and to not fill your battery all the way up. But I don't necessarily see how it correlates to this idea of extending the cycles, or does heat diminish the cycles? And is it really not about using the power at all? Because 500 cycles is still 500 cycles. So if a cycle is, because there used to be some debate on this, there used to be people used to say that if you took a battery down 40%, right, up, down 40%, up, and then down 20%, some people would say that that's a cycle. Those people could be wrong. But It seems to be that the consensus now is it's a fully 100% to 0% is a cycle. So is a cycle, have you not completed a cycle if you always drain your battery down to 20% and then leave it there and just fill it back up? 20%, leave it back up. Is that not a, maybe I'm tripping. I'm not sure that that is true of lithium-based chemistries. Lead acid will flake away at lower. Well, yeah, I understand that. When I feel like we wouldn't really technically be talking about lead acid. Lead acid is just weird, which is why deep cycling a car battery is such a bad idea. But yeah, we're talking about LiFePO and lithium ion, right? LiFePO and nickel NMC or whatever it is. In an electric vehicle like a Tesla, they thermally manage the battery extensively and also don't use full capacity of the battery. They recommend using it from 20 to 80%, which I absolutely understand, especially based on what you said below. I mean, good battery care is 20 to 80%, hands down. But I see people talk about this as it relates to preserving cycles. But is it really that we should be doing that? I know we should be doing it to preserve the health of the battery, but is that a kind of misnomer to frame it like that, where you should be preserving cycles by not using all your watt hours? Because think about the Titan. Let's say that Titan is like 3 kilowatts, and the way that they extend the cycles according to them, or at least according to what I deduce from what Minuteman Prep says, because he's kind of closely associated with that company, is there's a lot more battery capacity in there than there is stated or accessible to you. And that's how it can get its 3,000 cycles or whatever it has. Yeah. So consistency gives the battery longevity. That's a good question. My understanding is that you use the word consistency, so I'm going to go opposite of that. I would say inconsistency reduces the battery's longevity. I don't know that it powers up the battery to make it do anything better than what it's rated at. I don't know. Heat and extreme cold are two enemies of any lithium battery. Tesla has cooling lines in the pack. Okay, fair enough. It's not extending them for me. I still only have 2,500 cycles, but it takes longer to complete a full cycle. Really? I'm trying to understand it, y'all. Help me out. Come on, fam. Like, don't get out of pocket, Jimbo Slice. Don't get out of pocket, man. Medial consistency is what I'm referring to. Yeah, I get you. I understand. 100%. Yeah, I just, in a situation where if I had a Titan, and let's say I had a 3 kilowatt configuration of the Titan, but it was actually like 3.6 kilowatts of power in order to stop me from accessing the bottom 10% and the top 20% or whatever it was. I would much rather have that power and manage it myself than them hide that power from me to make sure that I get cycles. And that's kind of where I live on that. See what Ria's talking about. Well, no, she didn't say anything. Yeah, Jimbo Slice is wilding. He done changed his name and got super brand new. So does that mean that after the 500 cycles, does that mean that you should run the battery still at 20 to 80% for lithium ion batteries? That's a great question. I don't know, and I don't know a technical answer to that, but I would say that the health of the battery is important, period. And a good practice is 20 to 80%. So, and you won't necessarily notice that, right? Because 0 to 100%, whether it has its natural, its native or its original watt hour capacity, when it starts to diminish, you still only get 0 to 100%. So it's not like you would see a difference. You still have to manage it appropriately. It's just your watt hour capacity starts to degrade over time. At least that's my understanding. Below 20% creates high temp above 80% creates higher heat. Okay. Thank you, because I'm trying to learn. I really appreciate this live, grabbing my notebook and writing utensils. Hey, I dig that. What's up, Dennis, by the way? The more you avoid heat, the longer your battery lasts. Okay. Are people really discharging these units so much that they are concerned about the cycle life? Um, I don't know, but I am. I use my units every day, all of them. With the exception of one or two. My smart list doesn't get cycled nearly as much, but I use pretty much all of my power stations every day. As my major ones, my EcoFlow every day, my EB70 every day, my EB120 every day, the Bull Bat every day. If it's hooked up to a solar panel, it gets used. It gets used every day. My Sateki 500 watt hour one gets used every day. My Jackery and Rock Pals gets used every day. And a lot of those power stations that I mentioned, the Jackery, the Rock Pals, they are lithium ion. I have a couple of those around here. The EcoFlow is lithium ion. Excuse me. So I'm curious. Fast charging creates more heat. Boom. I hope the reverse fast charging doesn't cost battery life. I'm sure it has to. It has to. I can't see how it avoids it. Then they turned the fan off because people thought the fan was loud, which I respect. But I think recently they put the option back in to put the fan back on, or somebody was talking about that. But they took the fan noise off. I dig it. My EcoFlow used to sit right here when I first got it because it was my most capable power station. And that fan, it got on my nerves. I actually have a little mini PC I bought off the marketplace. It's actually right here. I haven't seen Ban Everything in a while. I bought this little PC off of a marketplace from the same guy who I bought the Wackery from. I got it for a really good price. It's a little. My intention for this PC was to use it as my Plex server, but now I use my what's the thing? The little single board computer, the Raspberry Pi. That only uses about 5 to 7 watts. This thing uses 40 watts and the fan 40 or 50 or 35 or something. And the fan blares like crazy, which is why nothing's connected to it. So that fan noise it's annoying to me. So I was happy that they got rid of it. And I have come to terms with the fact that I bought power stations. I bought that Bowden's on purpose because it was LiFo, because I knew I was going to hammer my devices. I knew that from day one. Like, these things are going to get used. I've always been about consumption of power from the sun and using that power. So my stuff gets used every day. And the EcoFlow being used every day is just, it is what it is, and it's I've had it for about a year. So at some point it's going to come up on its, year and a half period where it's been cycled, and I'm going to see some degradation. I feel like I'm seeing that now, but the watt hour capacity on the EcoFlow has never really impressed me a whole lot. And then nobody that I know has actually watt hour capacity tested this new one. There was a lot of testing that went on with the R600 Pro and the R600 devices, which were also lithium ion. The Pro was LiFo, to be clear. And Hobotech tested the capacity of the base model of the R600, and he added the R600 Max or whatever, the battery to it, and it had less capacity in both of those than it had in the single one. So your capacity actually went down on those. I'm pretty sure that's probably true for this EcoFlow, but nobody has tested it. I haven't endeavored to test it because it takes an act of Congress for me to, speaking of Congress, an act of Congress for me to pull a power station off of solar to mess around with it, because I hate not getting solar power. Anyway, speaking of Congress, what do y'all think about this daylight savings time stuff? I don't know much about it. I actually have an article I need to read that I hope gives me some clarity on the whole daylight savings time stuff, because it's annoying that we have to deal with it. And my understanding is the rule for doing the reason they did that is kind of antiquated now, or maybe it doesn't apply to as much of America as it did back there when we were heavy on agriculture and stuff like that. Um, Maybe just the Midwest needs to have daylight savings time. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that greatly. Let's see. Joe try average extreme. I can see people who live in RVs or boondocking may also get a lot of use. Yeah, if you're relying on that power, you're gonna use that device. 100%. Let me scroll up here. Okay, I got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Got that one. The 500 to 800 cycles on lower capacity power stations is much more restricted. For instance, a Delta Max charge in optimal temperature conditions will last over 2,000 cycles, no problem, with only some fade. From your mouth to God's ears, because I don't know if that's true. The Delta Max charged in optimum temperature conditions will last over 2,000 cycles. You mean 2,000 cycles without degradation, or you mean 2,000 cycles for the full life of the battery, Jimbo? Get out of here, MJ. I like the fan sound. Yeah, you're off the chain. Was my concern. Okay, now I could be wrong, but the way I understand the cycle is going from 100 to 0. Whether you do it all at once, or if you cycle from 100 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 50, 50 to 100, that's one cycle. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I guess one could wonder if you use the full capacity of the battery, whether it's from 100 to 0 or 1 to 50, 50 to 1, 1 to 50, 50 to 1, you've used the totality of that battery, let's just say 500 watt hours. When you use 500 watt hours from a battery, then that's one cycle. I don't know. Maybe. I still don't understand it. I feel like people have kind of gone back and forth, and I'll be trying to get clarity on it. Oh, I told my wife the stream would be 90 minutes. She had less of an issue with how long the streams would last, but more of an issue of me saying how long they would last and them going over a half hour over. You know what I mean? 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, there's grace there. But 90 minutes today. And I may not even need it. I feel like about 75 minutes is a good, I get through the topics that I want to touch on. We do some Q&A, all that jazz, and then, kind of hang out, and then I've covered everything. Doesn't affect me a daylight savings time in Arizona. Interesting. It should go through. I've been saying for years it should be going. Yeah, a lot of us feel that way, but I don't know if we, much like a lot of things, I don't know if we're right for feeling that way, because we can be weirdos sometimes. We have strong opinions and weak information. Should put that on a shirt. We have strong opinions and weak information. I made a post a few days ago. I don't mean to talk about race, but it was about race. I said I have read many books on race and read many articles, watched many videos. For sure, tell me your opinion about race when you've read nothing and done no research. Go for it. Enlighten me, please. Oh man, is it daylight savings time? I don't know how it works. I know that the time did something and we got more sunlight because of it. With partial capacity loss over time, I charge mine to 100, but from what I read, it isn't really fully charged to 100, but needs to trickle for another hour. Is that true? I've seen some behavior that says that. I don't know if this is true of power stations, but I have kind of come into the knowledge that I know iPhones or phones, they kind of sense the state of the battery. They don't necessarily know the state of the battery. Again, I don't know if this applies to power stations, but that's why a cell phone Well, as you use it over the years, you can see it say 25% and then it shuts off because that measurement is inaccurate. I don't know if that applies, but it's something to think about. As long as it's charged in a climate controlled environment at a low C rate, that's fair. The older deltas, they go full bore though, so the C rate can make the life variable as much as 40% over time overall life. Hey, all right, if you say it, you believe it. I got the EB70S. Nice, pretty sweet so far. It's man, it's a nice device. I don't have the S, but you know. One van life channel explained that a lead acid battery should not be used under 50%. Yeah, that's kind of common for those people who use those lead acid batteries. Ever since then, I only wanted a power station. Oh yeah. But you could get the kind of batteries. You don't have to do lead acid batteries. Like it's super popular to just buy a LiPo battery because the price per watt over the duration of the life of the battery is a lot better than lead acid, even though lead acids can be cheap initially. We'll process a video on that, and that was from a year ago. I'm sure it's like a lot better to go LiPo now. Saving, not savings. I got you. I have a river I am purposefully abusing every day and a river that I am pampering. Interesting. I'll post results. I even talk mean to the one I'm abusing. This guy, man, he got jokes all day. Batteries, there's two analogies that I can use. Okay. What's up, Mr. Repo? Been a while, man. Good to see you. How are you, man? You doing all right? Has life been okay? Another thing I kind of shared was a lot of times, man, we feel like we're going through this stuff we're going through alone, and we're not, man. I know Yvette saying that she was caring for her father, and I think someone else mentioned that they were caring for their parents and stuff like that. It's like, man, we're all, we're on this earth going through some of the same stuff. Ain't no sense in feeling like you're alone, and ain't no sense in actually being alone while dealing with it. One, I think of it like a cup of coffee. The watt hours is how much coffee it can hold, and the cycles are how long until it dies. Use less cycles and you can use it longer. Okay, we talked about coffee, then we went back to batteries. Think of it like a cup of coffee. All right, maybe I need to keep reading. The watt hours is how much coffee it can hold, and the cycles are how long until it dies. Then there's a coffee correlation, how long until it's gone. I don't know. I want to follow you. Help me out. What's going on, man? What's going on? If you were to pick a big 2,000 watt, a bigger solar generator, which one would I choose? I would have to go with Bluetti because EcoFlow does not have a product that competes with the AC200P or the AC200 Max. It's fairly simple for me. Now, there are some off the beaten path devices from like Sateki and Alcatel. Sateki, I don't know that I would go with them over the Bluetti because Bluetti has been tried and true, but maybe, I don't know. Those things have come out on Kickstarters and been like about $1,000. So if I was going to go off the beaten path, I may consider that, but I would much rather go on the beaten path with a Kickstarter and to save money on a 2,000 watt device where I could get it for like 1,100 or $1,000. That's kind of the way that I would go. But right now, as it stands, I would go Bluetti AC200P or AC200 Max. Even the EcoFlow Delta Pro is the dopest device that's out there, in my opinion, in terms of what's in my ecosphere. But I will never be okay with spending the $3,300 on it, or the $2,700 on it, or the $2,899 from Sam's Club. When if I was just in a space where I could make myself believe that it was okay to spend $2,000, I would have got the Kickstarter price hands down. I almost spent like $1,600, $1,700 on the AC200 Max on its Indiegogo Kickstarter price. So it's hard for me to get back up there with the EcoFlow Delta Pro, even though I feel like at its core, with the exception of those batteries, it's the best big power station out there. Did they correct the fan noise on the EB70? That would be a question for, I think, Nuke. But I don't think he had the 70 to compare it to. And nobody has made a video kind of highlighting those things. If I had the coins or the subscribers, I would love to be able to get the EV70S, but Blue Eddy don't respect me yet. So, just is what it is. Okay, I already got that one. Going to your iPhone 20% charge example, after years, cells can go bad very commonly, but the decide doesn't know. Okay, doesn't know it's bad. So that's how you frequently get jumps in percentage and early shutoffs. I'm sure decide was something else. The iPhone. Okay, maybe. That's good to hear, man. I'm glad you're doing okay. 2, like a car. This is the second example. The first one was about coffee. Second example is like a car, a power station like a car. You think of the bottom of the battery and the speed at which you use it and charge it, like redlining the engine. I can understand that 100%. Nothing like a what? Oh, cycles being a full cup. If you fill it up 10 times, then it's over. If you fill it up halfway, then you can keep using the cup longer before it breaks. Interesting. I'm glad that's the way that you understand it. I hope that somebody understands it because of those examples, but that doesn't compute for me, which is not saying much. I'm super thoughtful and kind of over whatever. I was going to purchase a second Delta Pro and the double voltage hub to be able to use my clothes dryer that runs on 240 volts. However, it is cheaper to just buy a 120 volt backup dryer. Interesting. I didn't know you could buy a 120 volt dryer. News to me. Are they cheaper? You did say cheaper. Well, you said it's cheaper to buy that. Interesting. That's peculiar. That is very peculiar. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna have to kind of look into that. Hey, what's up, Dandy? Thanks for the. I guess this is a super chat. It looks weird in the StreamYard. Thank you. I appreciate it greatly. Words cannot express how appreciative I am of people who say thanks with coins. That's just dope. Sorry, limited in my attempt at explaining by the amount of words we can use. It can be complex. Hey, okay, I dig it. I appreciate you for trying, though. I do. If you need 2,000 watts, you probably have a custom use case where the cheapest would be DIY. Really? Just 2,000 watts is nothing. A friggin' microwave can use what, 12, 1,400, something surge. I feel like 2,000 watts is normal because you got to be able to absorb some surge. So I don't see that as a special use case. But hey, you got it, brother Joe Trot. The car analogy, you can use a car for years, but if you redline the engine all the time, you can kill it much quicker. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that on the earlier live. B3, what's happening, brother? I had the EV70 and now the EV70S. I don't have both at the same time, but the fan noise is the same as far as I can tell. Wow, man, you don't have both at the same time. I think Setai got a EV70S, but I don't know if he still has the EV70 or not. But he'll probably, if he does, I'm sure he'll make a video at some point. Any condition that creates heat, 0 to 20%, 80 to 100%, causes the battery to degrade faster. You avoid those conditions, heat, it lasts longer. I get it. I understand. 20, I don't understand that. 120 volt dryer, $300 shipped. How much does a normal dryer cost? That's interesting. Let's take a look. Of course, we go to Amazon because Jeff Bezos sells everything. 120 volt clothes dryer. Interesting. Okay, this is the first sponsored post is considered a portable one. So these are portable dryers. This is interesting. Huh. Very interesting. Let me just show y'all. I can share the screen. Hey, you know what I mean? I'm fancy. Let's say don't. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox. Okay, I'm gonna keep showing that. Let's do a window to the wind. Anyway, bring it up. So check these out, guys. Thanks for asking, Cat Eyes. We are fine. We are fine. We're fine, right, babe? We're fine, right? Just in life, fine. Let's see how long it lasts. She watching TV. She ain't entertaining my shenanigans. Interesting. Highly rated. Costway. 359. This is interesting, man. Clothes dryers, 120 volt. I wonder how much 120 volts and what kind of amps do they use? This is intriguing. Blowing my mind right now, Jimbo. Man. And this is what I don't like because a lot of times they don't tell you how much power this stuff will use. Okay. Weighs only 60 pounds, 120 volts, 60 hertz. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm almost certain they won't tell me how much power this thing uses. It looks pretty big there, but I mean, small compared to a normal dryer. This is kind of dope. I mean, if stuff got super real, who like really cares about a dryer? We ain't gonna care about our clothes anyway. But for if you lived off the grid and you kind of wanted this in your RV or something, that would be dope. Like, I mean, if you like lived that way, because some people like live in the city, they still have jobs to just live mobily. This would be cool. Somebody said this thing is not a mini as far as I'm concerned. The pic makes it look tiny. I assure you it's bigger than you think. Oh, did y'all know these things existed? I did not know that. Hey, Dominique Unique, 1700 watts at 120 volts. It's almost 16 amps. You saw 1700 watts somewhere? Did I miss that? I didn't see that anywhere. Did I miss that? Jeez. Okay, anyway, that's peculiar. I'm gonna have to put a pin in that and try and check that out for sure. Okay, so what do we do here? If I click, okay, nice, nice. So if I do, that won't do anything because there's nobody here. Ah, look at that. Fancy, fancy. I'm making discoveries out here. And you could even make me smaller. And then you could go full screen. Nice. Learn something new every day. Boom. Let's keep the window up. Hey, Darlene. Good to see you. Hey, Karma. Energizer has a new 2100 watt light bulb power station. I saw the review. It looks good. Yeah, I saw something electronics and more did a video on it. I haven't watched it yet. Jason Oy has it too. So I'm looking forward to checking out those videos. If you can get an AC 200p for $14.99, it's 72 cents a watt hour. The AC 200 Max is 93 cents. If you can get past the 60 watt PD port and a 200 watt less inverter, then the AC 200p is a better deal. Also, you have to come to terms with the fact that you need to put panels in series, or you need to have higher voltage panels. I have not heard back from the dude who is selling the Renity panels. He has not got back to me. It is Wednesday. He said he wasn't going to be available last week, but he will be available sometime this week. So, I'll follow up with him. Maybe he sold them. I don't really care. It's not the kind of deal that I'm looking for, but I was going to settle. I was, being honest. That one lists 1700 right in the title. Boom. Missing the obvious. Boom. 1700 watts, 16 amps. Boom. Thank you, guys. There you go. Did I answer that? We are fine. I think I did. And the missus say we're fine, so it must be true, right? The AliExpress renewability I got is as good as new, so keep an eye out for the next renewed AC 200Ps to drop and get it for under $700. Man, if I ever come across an AC 200P on that site, I think I'm going to buy it. I think I am. I want to be patient and wait until they send me one, but I think $700 is worth kind of risking having spent the $700 and actually gotten something later. Because at this moment, I do not have anything that's over 1,000 watts for my inverter. So I feel a little insecure in that regard. Speaking of dryers, I have to hang laundry. Hey, be right back. Okay. Got those. Hey, Siobhan, good to see you. The gardening artist. I have a portable washer that I use my 1,000 watt Jackery. Interesting. That's what's up. Now, do you have a use case for that, the gardening artist? Or is it something that you just wanted and you got? Like, for example, are you in a situation where you need that type of appliance and you went with it? I was wondering if you had heard. Wondering if I had heard what? Okay, let's see here. I did want to update you guys on some things. Oh, here it is. I have to make a video for this one. Check this out. This company sent me this power station. I got to learn to remove these comments. Every now and then I hear, maybe it's this strap moving. Every now and then I hear something kind of move, but it doesn't. So I think it's the strap. This is the Sevcoms 240 watt power station. It reminds me of the Energizer. Pull it back. I always wanted one of these. I always wanted the Energizer, right? Because the Energizer is 240 watt hours as well. But I didn't have the money and I couldn't justify spending almost like I think at its cheapest, it was like 170. And then it went up to something or another. These things with these 240 watt hours, they last kind of almost surprisingly long for their form factor. It always kind of shocks me because the 240 watt hours, that's only 60 watt hours off from, the Energizer or the Go Lab. So it's like this type of form factor with 240 watts inside. The screen is not fancy, but I have multiple power stations I don't necessarily need. And I mean, it is exactly the same as the Go Labs, and the Sateki comes to mind. But it's better than the Bodens. The Bodens do not have USB-C. I don't even think it has fast charging. If it does have fast charging, it has some older style fast charging that doesn't actually fast charge anything that I have. I do need to test and see if this port right here is shallow or not. And I don't have anything I could plug in here. So on my Sateki, my ground hole is not deep enough to allow the plug to go all the way in. It has a bit of a gap. So this is cool. I need to do a video about this really soon, and then I'm gonna send it to them first and then see if they actually like the video. And then they have some bigger units that they may send me as well. So that's gonna be interesting. It's a cool little device. I consider these things to have very interesting use cases in that where you need this smaller form factor. It's not the most whatever. It's probably going to be like 60 watts because it's a 5521. This thing says it's 45 watts, but it'll take in 60 watts. So I need to figure out a way to test it to see if it'll output 60 watts, which is what I talked about earlier on the live. This is a bi-directional port. It also supports dual charging. That bi-directional port, I don't know if it's going to actually work with a power station. So I may have to kind of test it on various ones to see if it'll actually output 60 watts to them or 45 watts. Very interesting. The thing that I like a lot is this light because it's diffused and it just turns on and off. No different settings. You kind of have to hold the button to get it to start doing the fly stuff. So that's pretty cool. I like when power stations does that. The Sateki does it all also. So that's that. I'm gonna try to record that video tomorrow if light is good because I record in a window like a thug. Jackery needs to drop prices on their older stuff. Blue Eddy can we get 3.0 ports? It took me so long to figure out that those ports are not quick charge ports. I thought I was tripping, but they're not. I haven't tested it in depth, but I'm gonna go on. No, I'm not gonna go on the record, but you went on the record, so I don't. They don't strike me as fast charging ports. I actually have this little battery thing for my action camera, my Osmo. This is what I record my sit down videos on. I'm just out here thugging, man. I'm getting it done. No fancy camera, no nothing. And this one, if you hook it up to a quick charge USB 3.0 port, it'll charge two batteries at once. And then when it's done with one of the batteries, it'll charge the other. Here's the silly thing about this. Even though it has a USB-C port, it does not accept the PD protocol. So I can't use a USB-C to USB-C cable. I have to use a USB-A to USB-C, which I think is so stupid. The only redeeming factor is that this camera can charge from a USB-C to USB-C cable. I wanted to make, and I still will at some point. I have a channel called Ask Tech, I believe, or maybe the channel's called Random Tech Vids. It's not like published or anything. Where I want to make videos just to help people. My intention is not to necessarily grow the channel. If the channel does grow, cool, but it's hard to grow a channel when your videos will be all over the place. But I'm kind of leading with that. It's Random Tech Videos. If I did the video, I probably even recorded it. I will record a video about how this particular charger does not charge over USB-C to USB-C cables. I feel like some of that stuff is missed in some reviews, and I just want to kind of help the internets, right? What time is it? 7:00. There's Bible study tonight that I'm probably going to join a little later. I have a panel transfer switch update. It's not good news. I hit up an electrician and I was talking with the guy, and I had the feeling that my panel was a bit older, and he kind of confirmed it. He confirmed it in a way that I kind of raised my eyebrow at, but he was like, yeah, do you have a 100 amp or a 200 amp panel? And I was like, to be honest with you, I don't know. He was like, well, you can go check. I tried to go check. I didn't see anything that kind of denoted whether it was a 100 amp or 200 amp. So I took a picture of it, and he was like, oh, that's actually an older panel. Before we do anything with a transfer switch, we would have to update that panel. And the homie started talking about like $3,000. And I'm like, I don't know if dude's trying to beat my head in or not. But I'm definitely going to get a second and third and fourth opinion. So I'm trying to move forward with the transfer switch, but my transfer switch dreams were shattered. He also, my understanding, everybody who I've heard talk about a transfer switch, they were like, the switch should be about, $300 or so, and then labor should be about $200. And this dude was talking about like $1,500 or something like that. So I have to talk with some folks. If y'all have any experience with that, you could let me know if maybe I misunderstand the rates based on what other people are talking about. Jay, who actually talked about it, and he's in Cali. And cats is taxing in Cali because the cost of living is so high out there. I assume, right? I don't know. I've never been to Cali. Let me see if y'all dropped any comments. No, y'all have not. All right. I don't see any new comments over here. Let me make sure I'm still good. Hey, Auntie Blessings. Good to see you. It looks like that's a techie knockoff. Yeah, it's basically an Energizer, Joe. No, when we start talking about the panel, he start getting up to like $3,000. So this is like, he was like, yeah, I need to come out to do an amp measurement to kind of see your power. And I was like, yeah, we don't use a whole lot of power. We just have a dishwasher, electric stove, electric water heater. We have a gas furnace. And he was like, yeah, you're probably maxing that panel out. So I don't know, man. It just seems like a lot of coin compared to what I've heard people talk about. Oh, wait. LA Times said my Alcatel P2001 from Kickstarter came today. Gonna check it out tomorrow. Definitely my last one. Yeah. You say that. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to look for that. that live take is still on sale. Oh no. Somebody told me about another power station I need to look for. It's still on sale for cheaper than the Moonfire. Oh, thinks I don't like the noise. About the panels. Okay, hopefully I have one. I have one. Hopefully I have one charged because it's been a struggle around here lately. So you're gonna need a cable too, right? Uno momento, por favor. So something that I got interesting. I don't think this this power brick is up to its capacity. It's supposed to be like a 13. I feel like he does, man. His parts are off the chain. But I still use it. But one thing I wanted to point out, I bought this little thing. Can y'all see that? It's a right angle USB-C adapter. And I bought it mainly for my son because when he's holding the phone, why is that comment still here? My gosh, I get it together. When he's holding this phone in his hand, it gives him this instead of this. So he doesn't have to bend my cable all weird. We could just put it in like that. And then he could still kind of hold his phone and, cool stuff. I'll put a link after the whatever.
Sorry.
What are you sorry for?
I thought I scratched you.
Oh, no. I'm good, buddy. What do you say?
Thank you.
You're welcome. That stinks. I did mine myself and had it inspected. Total cost was $450 for the transfer switch and inspection. Okay, cool. Interesting. One thing that jumped out for me with the switch is, and it kind of gave me some interesting vibes for somebody who came to my house before. He said that panel's actually illegal, and that kind of raised my antennas because a plumber who came here before, I feel like the guy had no intention on trying to fix our issue, but then wanted to charge us for the in-home visit. And I'm like, dude, it was like 5 o'clock. He was like, yeah, I could come through. And then he came through and was like, yeah, I'm gonna need some extra stuff and I won't be able to do it today. And we like, why we pay you to come through to just like not do anything, fam? So we had like a whole thing about it. It wasn't like a big deal, but I felt very unfairly treated. My wife did as well. And he just ended up being like, I feel like he postured taking the high ground. Like, yeah, well, I don't want to have any bad blood between anybody, so I'll just give y'all money back. And it's like, well, yeah, you should give us our money back. But he came and he looked at one of our little whatevers and he was saying it's actually illegal to have this. And I feel like, are you just saying that it's out of code? Huh?
Yeah, he looked at, I'm ready. I want this conversation. I would pull up a chair. Because I was thinking about reaching out to the guy to find out what he mean by our panel is illegal. What does illegal mean? Somebody gonna come to our house and arrest us?
That's what I feel like. It's like
what's that language is like really bothersome, and I want to just get with them and be like, are you trying to inject fear? Trying to fearmonger? Like, come on.
Fearmonger.
Yeah, like
from Wakanda.
Like I can understand using the what I think is appropriate language, which is
Really? Why are you harassing me? She like, Daddy, you close to all the stuffs. I want to be close to the stuffs.
Or like I could understand if people's like, it's out of code.
Oh, she want to play.
You know what I mean? Or it's anything other than illegal, because when you say something is illegal, then that means there are some consequences and repercussions that's going to be coming your way. If you know what I mean? So
hey.
I want to talk to him myself because Ivan, he's all cool and easygoing, and he'll be thinking all kind of recklessness in his head, but he won't say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right to your face.
I don't be thinking recklessness in my head. I just be like, Okay.
Yeah, you'll listen though. You're like really like collected. You know, like you're not combative.
Y'all ever watch those movies where people like they reveal their hand? Stop. She's still grabbing my shirt and stuff. You know what I mean, get off my
Grab your
shirt.
shirt.
No, you can't grab my shirt, fam. They reveal their hand, and I try not to be one of those people. I'd be like, why did you say that? You ain't have to say that. Like, I'm gonna bring you up on charges, and now the people got it out for you. It's like, just keep your cool, shut up, don't say anything. You want to bring people up on charges? Didn't do that. Don't reveal you. Like, hold them close to the chest. That's how I feel. I'm blocking you. I'm blocking you.
I don't know. 'Cause I feel like, I mean,
Mayweather.
we know we need to get the panel upgraded. Like, we know that. But it's illegal, though. It's illegal to have a panel that the house just has and has had probably since it was built. That's illegal. Like, and I have the guy's information, so I'm like, using restraint to not hit him up and be like, hey, my husband told me that you said it's illegal to have this panel. What's it called? Fuse box, breaker box?
I don't know what it's called. I just call it a panel.
Figure out what, like my husband said, you said it was illegal. What you mean by that?
Hey, vet. You've been in here the whole time, or you just came in? You've been in the cut. I mentioned you earlier.
Okay, but yeah, you're talking about the switch.
Yeah. Siobhan said she would want to know.
Huh?
Siobhan said she would want to know.
I know, right?
Can the wife share what kind and where she got her glasses?
Oh, these ones are from it's not Zelo, Fluke. I got them. No, these are Zelo. These are the glasses that I really don't like. So I wear them around the house. I got another clear pair of glasses that I do like, which I got from Fluke.
Y'all, she uses her air fryer now.
I do. And I'm falling in love with it. And I'm ashamed to admit that, but it's true. I'm really, really beginning to like the air fryer. I'm starting to use it a whole lot more. A friend of mine on Facebook, she coined the perfect name for it. She said, it's a microwave for fried foods. And I was like, yep, that's what it is.
So, does every state have different laws, or does every state have different codes? And if you have something that is other than the law, like for example, the guy was telling me you have to put like ice guards on your
Roof.
with the things that funnel the water, gutters.
Oh.
And he was like, yeah, you don't have them, that's fine. But anybody who builds a new house from now on needs to have that because that's what the code says. Yeah. It's like, are they laws or is it code? And I get it. You know what I mean? You violate that code, you will be fined and all that jazz. But, is the police coming to get me because my panel is a old,
it's outdated.
It's 3 generations back or whatever? Oh, that's your wife's name, Sonia. Is it Sonia or is it
Sonia
Fancy?
Sonia.
Uses ours a lot too. It's 1900 watts though.
You would know the air fryer's watt usage.
I think ours is like 1400. It didn't shock me. Hey, Kimberjack. Dominique Unique said, yeah, air fryers are awesome.
Really are. I made some salmon for the first time, and I accidentally, like, I was meaning to let the salmon rest, but I forgot to let them rest outside of the fryer. I left them in the fryer, and they still didn't dry out. Like they were overcooked still, but they weren't like dry and like
Look what MJ
cardboard. What?
You always start mess. Oh my gosh.
I love that air fryer. Is Silver Symbol here?
No. He doesn't really hang out.
Oh, okay.
That dude got like over 500,000 subscribers.
Oh, really?
He don't hang out no lives with me. He'll watch a video or two. He just watched my For Patriots video and commented on it. That was cool. I would say it's outdated as well, prepping on the creek, and not illegal.
Right, outdated, out of code.
I watched Prepping on the Creek's video about his transfer switch, so y'all should go check that out. And that's kind of what got my gears in motion. I've been one-on-one, but I decided to I wouldn't say that he's a catalyst, but it was cool to watch his video because this is his second video on a transfer switch. But I did get a better understanding, kind of, sorta, from your video. So thank you for that. Y'all should go check out the video. Um, let's see. I hit you from my other channel, Advanced Prep with Tech. Interesting about a power station that is coming out. That sounds the Advanced Prep with Tech. I remember that comment coming through. That's what's up. Do you have content? I may have even checked the channel for content. I'm not sure. What did I say? Bilingual? You're talking about language. What did I say? I don't know what I said. Yeah. So I'm gonna reach out to my folks, and see if that kind of jives with them. And then there was another electrician that uh somebody recommended. We try to support, like, Black people who perform these services, uh because that's a whole thing. But we try to. Let's see. Great terminology. Law or codes. Can it be so old that it is grandfathered in and can't be disputed? Oh, maybe. So, what does a transfer switch do? In simple terms, a transfer switch um, is installed, and you can choose which circuits in your circuit box. I guess that's what it called. It's called in your circuit box to switch over to that transfer switch, and to allow them to be powered by an alternative means, typically a generator. In our situation, if you have a big enough power station or a small enough load on the circuit, then you can use a power station, right? So when you hit that switch to turn it on the transfer switch, my understanding is that it disconnects that circuit from that board, and it no longer gets power from the grid. It gets power from whatever your source of power is, be that a power station or a gas generator or a propane generator or whatever it is that you have. That's essentially what a transfer switch does. A breaker panel in the house. Okay, a breaker panel. There you go. That makes sense too. I run my fridge off the EB240 and charge it up with the other people's outlets. I'm making a song about it. It's a real banger. Got it. Dinner is served. Hey, holla. We got another 23 minutes. I have some topics I want to touch on. Oh, just a little quick tip. Check the settings on your TVs, guys. I was watching a video from a kind of vlogger friend of ours. She switched RVs with someone who had a tiny home, and the person she switched with was on a reservation. So they were like a Native American or indigenous people. I'm not sure what they prefer to go by these days, and I respect what they prefer to go by. Um, and they use a generator to power their TV. And it turns out she has a TCL TV. So I was kind of reaching out because I didn't know if they had solar panels or not. Because I would have like given a solar panel or something to them, because I feel like, just trying to help out. That's kind of how I am. But they're good money. But I was talking with her about the settings, and it turns out she has a TCL TV as well. So I was like, you should check your power save settings and also check your brightness settings, because that could reduce the power draw of your television. Because it feels weird to me, if she hasn't messed with any of those settings, her TV's probably pulling 80 watts. So they have a power station, but they use it to run like their lights and stuff. And she was saying that her TV just uses too much power. So check your TV settings, see if it has a power save mode. I ran across a Samsung TV in some capacity, or a monitor or something that had a power save mode, and it just made the TV kind of unwatchable. But it did have a brightness setting, and I think I tweaked that brightness setting to bring the watt usage down, because that's kind of what uses the power, right? The brightness and the backlights and all that jazz. Um, and LED TVs are much better on power these days, but they sometimes have some settings in them. Yes, like switching train tracks, pretty much. Pretty much. The power station was from Big Blue. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. I wonder if I'm gonna get to check out that Big Blue. It's interesting. It's a little plain Jane on the front, but it has a bunch of stuff on the side. I already have a contact with them. They sent me a replacement, which is what I have to tell y'all about. The replacement may have an issue as well. Go figure. It's dead right now. I have a series of videos that I hope to come out with soon. I have one on the EcoFlow and I also have one on the Big Blue. It seemed like it exhibited the same behavior. So I let them know, I was like, I got to test some more, but this thing may have an issue, man. And it may have a systematic issue. So I need to test with that. But I got the second one. The first one is in the box. Let me see. Out of code is illegal, but nobody is coming to look for it. I find that terminology grossly problematic. I mean, I hear you, but I just think that that's silly to consider something illegal because it's out of code, especially if it fell out of code. Now, if somebody put something in that was out of code, then the act of doing that, I feel like, is illegal because, whatever. But, be that as it may. So, can you turn it down a little bit, babe? Just a little bit. Can you turn it down a little bit? Maybe like 2 or 3. Let's see. I run my Samsung at 20% backlight and it runs at 40 watts all day. That's what's up. 65-inch. Okay, I got you. What room in the house would you use a 200 watt hour power station? Well, if I got a 200 watt hour power station, I would probably put it, my first one will probably go in the basement if I have a transfer switch there. If I got a 2000 watt power station and I didn't have a transfer switch yet, I will probably put it up here and then I will force myself to pull this refrigerator off the wall and I'd run my fridge off of it for sure. Because I imagine that's one of the highest draws. And then my power stations that I have downstairs can run the deep freezer and the mini fridge. And then what I would do, I would put it up here and I would take my EB70 and that will replace my bull bat, right? Because my EB70 can take in up to 160 watts. The bull bat can take in about 136. Even though it's advertised at 160, I believe, but it doesn't take in the full 160. So that will replace that. That will get hammered every day, but then it would be LiFePo instead of lithium ion, right? And then it will have a higher capacity, 700 instead of 500. Because normally what I do with that bull bat is I power dump from it into my Sateki LiFePo one, and I typically use that one to power my TV. Jimbo Slice. Yeah, Jimbo, you gotta relax on the color commentary, man. I appreciate a good joke, but let's not get inappropriate. Thanks for the TV setting tip. I will check it out later. Okay, I'm not going to even read that. Codes are by cities. Gotcha. Does the transfer switch have to match the model of your breaker box? Nah, I don't think it has anything to do with it. It just has to be installed, by a professional. And in Perping on the Creek's example, he installed it himself, and then he had somebody come out and inspect his work. What do you feel is the most worthless power station you own? Worthless? The one that I did own was the Wackery. That one was pretty worthless. The one that I used the least is probably my Bowden's. But I'm starting to use my Bowden's a little more to run my little USB lights. So I'm kind of using that one a little more. Worthless. I've been thinking about giving away the Oops. Wayne is talking about wanting to buy it, but he doesn't know this yet. If I got to a point where I wanted to get rid of it, I would just give it to him. He will kind of send it to his folks in his native land. He's gonna find out on this live. I wouldn't sell it to him. I'm saying I wouldn't sell it to him. Duracell Power Source 660. Yeah, that I would put that in the realm of pretty useless. Oh, just saw you on Buzz Me. Okay, next time. Connect with me in some capacity. I'll shoot you a message. Hit me up on like Instagram or Telegram or Facebook Messenger. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Um, let's see. I gave the Big Blue update. The EcoFlow, I have not. The EcoFlow update is I opted to exchange the battery, but I have not shipped it. Man, I suck with stuff like that. I just do. I kind of hate leaving my house, and I don't even have to leave my house for this one. I have to call to get them to come and pick it up, and I'm just gonna have to do it. I also have to call to get this other power station shipped. And I've been dragging my feet on that. I suck. I suck. Bum. Uh, the oops situation is a little bit unclear. I have not emailed them yet. But I probably will at some point. I just have to have the mindset to reach out to them and be like, hey, at this point, I have, 2 power stations that don't really fit my needs. Where do we go from here? And here's my logic, right? These people send me these power stations as payment. That's why YouTube makes us put paid promotion on there in exchange for a video. So it's like I feel like I don't have a functioning power station that I could rely upon. So I think about hitting them up. I do. I have a question for you guys, right? Let me see. Heard from Mylan. Yeah, I did hear from Mylan, actually. I talked to them, and the funny thing about the Mylan, it's charging okay today, but I can't trust that. But what they said, between me and y'all, because I was like, I would just like my money back. It was $250. I wasn't really a big fan of it. I still like it for a power dump. You can dump 90 watts into it. I think that's super cool. But they were like, yeah, I talked to them about returning it. And they said to me, returning is a bit of an issue. I'm not saying this to get anybody upset or anything like that, but I feel like undoubtedly people will. It didn't upset me. But they were like, returning is kind of a problem. They talked to the manager, and the manager was like, they were willing to give me half my money back because of the solar charging, whatever. I feel like because I got the dip for $250, I'm kind of okay with that. I feel better about the purchase at that point because the device does work in every other circumstance. But will it continue to work? I guess that's the problem. I don't know. But I agree to it. I take some risk on this channel for the sake of making the content. So yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. Let's see. I don't be wanting to go nowhere, especially with that action moving around. People out here thinking that because they vaccinated, they can't spread it and all that jazz. So I'll be trying to stay all the way out the way. I'll be trying to stay out the way 100%. I didn't like leaving the house a whole lot before. So it's just like, I don't be wanting to go nowhere. That's why I try to get a lot of my purchases right. So I don't have to worry about returning stuff. Is it the total power or can it be the breaker? Is it the total power or can it be the breaker? I don't know. Maybe. Okay, we heard from Mylan. I think you can pick what breaker you want to power. Yeah, you can. Oh, okay. Is it the total power or can it be by breaker? It is by breaker. You have to, that's my understanding. You have to kind of associate, you have to pick which breakers in there you will allow to be transferred. Prepping on a Creek was saying in his video that he wished he had gotten like a larger one. I think he has a 4-switch one. And I appreciated that insight because it doesn't mean you have to use it, but you have those options, right? So as you grow with the system or you have different things you can kind of power depending on how your house is laid out, to have more options is the better, but then that would cost you more money. I don't know if it would take more complexity to install, but I found value in that tidbit for sure. The Duracell power source is 65 pounds and can only use less than. Yeah, that Duracell one is crazy. Yeah, I feel like the Nature's Generator is kind of in that category too. I watched videos on the Nature's Generator, right, and I still couldn't come away with an impression for it. I'm not trying to lump it in the group with the Four Patriots because I think that that's kind of inappropriate. But just in terms of me being able to find videos that were useful and kind of told me about the product, I couldn't really find one. That was a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but that was months ago. I haven't looked into it again because it feels weird and I'm just not impressed with it. But I have a Duracell, but everyone gives me grief over it. It was practically free. Shaking my head. I'm down with Duracell. Hey, salute to you. I was thinking today that I would settle for that half refund or a no cost upgrade if Mylan has a larger watt generator. Interesting. That's a no cost upgrade. That's what's up. What's up, CWG? I don't know. Is it the Nature's Generator lead acid batteries? I don't know. I literally don't know what's in that device. And I feel like I looked into it and I couldn't figure it out. I do have a question for you guys. For those of you who have power stations or whatever, in a power outage, would you, if you had the option, would you light up the outside of your house? I'm curious about that. Would you want to be dark and kind of hidden? The reason why I asked that question is we know when it gets dark, people get more nefarious. So would you want to draw attention to your house or not? Or would you kind of just like, because people may feel like they could come in your house, you know what I mean? And I mean for an extended period of time, if stuff got like crazy, what would y'all do? Last time I looked at was I dig it. Yes, it is. Okay, LA Times confirmed it. The nature is lead acid. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You would want to be dark. I would light my bathroom and closet. Why the bathroom and closet? Bathrooms usually have outward facing windows. No, I would not. Yeah, I think I would pull my panels in and then I wouldn't light the outside, even if I had the option. I would kind of go dark. But I wonder, it's like you don't want to be the only house with lights. In a temporal situation, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And Black Woman says, no, absolutely not. In my neighborhood, I would opt for the outside lights. Why? What's your neighborhood like? Is that? My house would appear dark from the outside. I dig that. Absolutely not. We'll keep outside dark. Mine has no windows. I need to see. I'm gonna ask you officially on wax, Jimbo Slice, to let's tone it down a little bit, just a little bit. Let's bring it down. Do you understand what I mean? Please let me know if you understand what I mean, or am I miscommunicating in my ask? Illuminate a warning sign on the door. Holly Grove ready. Bandits might see your panels. Any sign that you have power makes you a target. Yeah, true. I would not. The less attention, the better, in my opinion. Yeah, you don't want to stand out. I dig that 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, don't need to draw that kind of attention. Everyone will come to your house like a horror zombies. I wouldn't broadcast that I have power. There you go. I feel you. We have enough to deter unwanted guests. I need more deterrence. I need more. No one should buy one. Absolutely not. It's very antiquated. LA Times, I assume, is talking about the Nature's Generator. And I also have videos on that TCL TV. I have two of them. I have one on a 32-inch that I got from the marketplace for cheap. I think I paid like 50 or 40 bucks for it. And I have a 55-inch or 50-inch TCL, and I have videos on both of them. The 55-inch is more so about me removing the Roku from it because the Roku was drawing power, and then using the Roku on the TV was using more power than it should. It was a weird situation. I'm going to redo that test because I think I improperly did something. But my TV absolutely does use more power when HDMI is being used. I can't understand why it goes up like a full 10 to 15 watts just because something is plugged into a USB, into an HDMI port. It's very strange. iPhone zombies knocking on the door. I have fools in my neighborhood that would take things, that would like to take things out of your yard. I gotcha. I hear you. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna just have to bring this stuff in and then go dark. Nothing valuable outside. Now, if we are talking about an extended outage, no lights. Okay, I think that. 100%. I don't know if I want anybody to know that whatever, but we kind of live in a certain area where it's not easily known that I have solar panels, but we do have a certain amount of traffic that comes through. So some people do know that I have solar panels. But if stuff ever got real, I would absolutely pull all my panels in, maybe with the exception of, um, yeah, I don't know if it, I mean, if it got like really sketchy where power became a problem, where it was kind of scarce, I pull all my stuff in or lock it up in some way where you would have to be committed, like you read about, to try and come and take it. I also have blackout curtains. Fancy. Thank you. I just finished doing the settings on the TV. Got it from 65 to 40 watts. Hey, nice. That's what's up. In my area, the sewage is handled by large pumps. After a prolonged outage, pumping stations will fail and the sewage can back up and come into the homes. Not good. Jimbo Slice, I asked if you understood what I was asking and me asking you to take down the humor a little bit. It's a little crude, just a little bit. Can you take it down a little bit? I would like you to acknowledge that you understand what I'm saying, or let me know if I'm being unclear in my ask, sir. Please. Yes, blackout curtains or black plastic bags to ensure no lights filter through. Oh, okay, true. Even cooking outdoors can make you a target in that scenario. Yeah, I could kind of live with that. Wayne just reminded me, he sent me a message that his cables came in. Let me give y'all a quick update on these. I got this cable. It's a USB-C to XT60. That's not humor. Okay, if you want to be technical about it, that's fine. But I've asked you a couple of times. I feel like you're a very bright guy. If you keep it up, and I feel like I keep getting feedback from the people who are like kind of relaxed and all that jazz, I may have to block you. I don't want to block you. I feel like you're a valuable addition to the community, but I feel like the humor can be a little off-putting. Whatever you want to call it, fill in the blank. So I hope I've made myself very clear. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I just want to be mindful of myself because some of it is off-putting for me just a little bit. I'm not offended by it or anything, but I don't want people in the chat to be offended by it as well. So I'm just going to put it out there like that. USB-C to XT60, right? This is not intended for the EcoFlow, but I bought it because I was curious about it and I wanted to try it. I've been looking for something like this for a while. I don't know if I'm going to keep it because it's too short. It doesn't give me the kind of length, but it did work. Let me take that back. It worked on one of my power stations. It did not work on my Jackery, which I thought was weird. So I don't know if this is valuable to me if it doesn't work universally. And also if it doesn't work, the length of it makes it kind of problematic. It's a little bit hard to be useful. The reason why I got it is because I'm sick of the 12-volt adapters. I'm sick of these. They get the job done. I feel like we need to get away from this as soon as we can. I don't like it. That port is annoying to me. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it wiggles and all that jazz. It's just a whole thing. I'm not a fan. So I don't know if I'm going to keep it. It was only $10. I'll put a link in there if you guys are interested in grabbing one. But I wanted something other than that 12-volt adapter that could charge my EcoFlow. The problem with the EcoFlow is that the only way I could charge this from DC is XT60. I feel like all of my problems would be solved if they had a bi-directional USB-C port. And the only reason why I need that is because the capacity of the EcoFlow River base model that I have now, because the battery has been packed up, is the capacity is not big enough to run the things that I want to run from it. So I always have to power dump back into it to maintain my whatever. So it runs my internet. I don't like to have a loss in my internet. So I just power dump into it to maintain that. A smarter way to do that would be to use some power station to power the internet and then feed that power station from the EcoFlow, right? So that when the EcoFlow is dead, this still has the power in it because it has been being powered from the EcoFlow all day. That's actually how I had it set up today, just by chance, because the EcoFlow died on me this morning, even with the power dump that I did. So I put the Jackery back there. I also am in a peculiar situation because not a lot of my power stations that float have pass-through charging, pass-through charging. The Jackery does, so it got put that back there. I also don't like to put a power station back there that is loud with the fan, because when me and my wife are watching TV late at night, that fan can be annoying. So it's a whole thing. The Jackery is quiet, has pass-through charging. It's ideal. The Rock Pals does not have pass-through charging, but it is quiet, so it can be used, but then that would disconnect my internet, so I can't use that. Energizer, Go Labs, Sateki, Sevcoms, or whatever it is, all have the ability to do that, but they all have annoyingly loud fans. Either the fan ramps up every when it reaches a certain point and then cools down, or the fan just runs arbitrarily every like 7 to 8 minutes. So the Jackery is really the only one I can use for that. So as I get more power stations that are a little more quieter or more capable in watt hours, so I don't have to power dump back into it to maintain a consistent 12-hour usage period, this is kind of what I had to deal with. So I bought this. Long story long, right? Let's see here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good to see you, Joe Tyson. Always good to see you, man. What are you talking about? The sewage stations are backed up by generators when they fail. It causes issues. I'm talking about the totality of your comments, not that one comment in particular. You've had some interesting fill in the blank with your appropriate word to describe your ... so on and so forth. I think it's humor, but maybe it's not humor. Some people have laughed and some people have, one person has felt like blah, 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 blah. I felt like some of it, I mean, you could watch the playback, fam. Like it's in the playback. You can put some timestamps. All right, let's see. Okay, I won't take him out. You're right at Jimbo Slice. Joe, good vibes. Jimbo Slice, prolonged outages, this would be an issue. Also, I have to remember that. I've had a nice life. Spend on some books. Hey, it's good to have you and good to know I no longer need to have you here. Thank you for giving me your parting words. No. So not nice, J Slice. Not necessary. Jimbo Slice, don't be upset. I mean, I felt like I went about it in a certain way. But if my being reasonable causes you to react that way, then I think we need to be on different paths, and that's fine. That is a-okay with me. All right, guys, I am at time, overtime by 3 minutes. I'm gonna get out of here and honor my whatever to my wife. Y'all be beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna call it a wrap. I think that's it. I'll hang around in the chat for a little bit if you guys have any, comments and stuff like that. Thank you, Darlene. I appreciate that greatly. All right, later.